Good morning. How are you today? Well, we're having a heat wave. It's in the high 50s, and the sun is out. But as I'm walking today, there are people cutting down trees, and I don't know that they need to. And I saw them cutting young trees by the borders, and there's no overhanging wires, which is the usual reason that we end up losing trees near roads and on the borders of property. I can almost feel a scream coming from the trees when I see them do this, especially the older ones. The ones that are still healthy, haven't been in decline, are still gathering years around their bodies and protecting us and making it more comfortable. So, replace it with a parking lot, replace it with a development, whatever. Deforestation is a worldwide problem, much larger than removing them for a development, of course. And it's going to be, and is, one of the issues in Stockholm. How do you stop it? And you'll see pictures over the next several days, of course, of whole areas that have been deforested. And those who know something about photosynthesis realize that these trees are manufacturers of oxygen that we need to breathe. So we don't need air, we don't need water, we don't need soil to give us food. That's what some think. And we have to have a responsibility to care for those who follow, our own children and their children. The notion of Plan B, another planet, is ridiculous. If we can't take care of this one, what makes us think we take care of the next one? Turn it into another garbage dump to despoil what is beautiful and natural. And all these people out there who are so-called religious don't see the handiwork in the God they believe in. But they are the proof to me that there is no God. Because if there was a God, how could he have such evil people except to test our integrity? Which seems to me to be a draconian way to construct a universe. So, what else is on the table? I've been to a lot of concerts, not as many as a lot of other people, and never traveled very far to a concert, I suppose. But during the pandemic, I wouldn't even consider it. I don't understand Astroworld. 50,000 people went to that concert with Travis Scott. And I'm not saying he's not deserving of such an audience. Plainly, he is deserving of such an audience. But he has a theme that caught up with him, I think, in the last performance, which is rage. There's a rage among the people who attend his concert. And as a result, people charge the stage, and there are people injured and dead, and some pretty young. Now, there are going to be all sorts of questions in the lawsuits that followed. The coronavirus aside, which would have kept me away from it, what were these people thinking? My wife said maybe they assumed the risk, I guess on some level, but did they assume the risk that they would be compressed so much that they couldn't breathe and they'd fall to the ground and be trampled on? Did they charge themselves? And Travis Scott, he's had a number of these incidents before, so he's not innocent of the effect that he causes. I don't mean to pile on Travis Scott because I don't know the guy at all, but it strikes me that there's a carelessness in our society that borders on chaos. I think the rituals that we have are to conceal from us the chaos that's just behind it. This walk and talk gives structure to my day. Hopefully it's interesting and an escape for you when you get to see the surrounding forest that I walk through. But just over the line, there are all these people doing insane and crazy things, and they expect there to be no consequence. One guy fell out of the stands at an earlier Travis Scott concert, and he's paralyzed the whole rest of his life. Buy a ticket to a concert, be compromised the rest of your life. I've done some risky things, we all have, especially when we're younger. Mine on motorcycles and I once slid down part of a mountain going into a stream of water, and luckily I managed to pull off to the side because there was a 1,000-foot drop on the other side. So we've all done something, you know, we don't anticipate the risk when we do it. We're taking risks, I think, in our government as well. There's a story in the Post today that says, how do the Democrats define themselves? I disagree with the implication. The implication is Democrats don't know who they are. The Democrats know their policy positions. They have those nailed down. Social justice, helping people, restoring the framework of America. These are all very solid proposals. And a Republican to oppose them on a partisan basis to be in power but doesn't care to do anything doesn't seem to be much of an alternative. But that's not the debate the Democrats are ignoring. The Democrats have to pay attention to the other debate, the emotional debate, the one in which we can't have our children learn about racism in school. We can't have them depressed that they think they are responsible for it. We can't allow children to mingle with those who are transgender. How can they use those bathrooms? What about gay marriage? And on and on and on. And that's what's carving up our society. And Democrats who ignore that fight, they are confused because the people, increasingly the ones that may matter in elections, they don't care about the content of policy. They care about hate and discrimination. And we may not change the minds of the core group that make up this sorry alliance, but there are all these independents and Republicans that are looking for something more. And when these terrible lies are cast out there to deceive voters, we have to be there to explain that's not true. Another thing that's happening is the Democratic hope that by just doing good by policy, people won't care if we don't reckon with those who thought to overthrow our government, who still think to do so. We have to do something about that. In my county, Loudoun County, we won all the local seats. We did very well, but we got fewer votes this time than the last election. The significance of that is the boost we would give to a candidate in our area is gone. And that's one of the reasons why we lost the race. What could we have done more? Well, I don't think locally we could have done much more, but the campaign overall should have been addressing these issues, in my opinion, the way I think they should. So the vote in Loudoun County is like an accordion. It was out here, and then it got compressed. And so 10,000 votes for McAuliffe was not 20,000 votes. And because of that, elsewhere where Youngkin overperformed Trump's results, that's how he won. And he won statewide by 60,000+ votes. Not a huge number for a statewide election. But if you lose 10 in Loudoun and you lose 10 in Fairfax and you lose 10 in Arlington, you start to see how it mounts up. Now, you may not know these localities, but this is going to be the war across the country in the midterms. And if we don't pay attention to these things now, we might just as well stay home. It's a Chinese curse, it's said, to live in interesting times, meaning the challenges are such that we have to dig down deep to give what's necessary to succeed. And the environmental conference says a lot about that. Maybe that even trumps whether or not we have a democracy. Pardon the Trump was with a small t. We have to deal with these problems. We need the resolve, and we need everybody when we're doing that. So I'm out here, and we still have trees where I am. And I know these people do their damnness to take down the trees that by which we breathe, by which we live. But we have to fight that as well. So have a good day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.